Let's talk mic stands. It's not the most exciting subject matter, but I've seen a lot of questions online from people just asking questions about them in general and recommendations and thoughts on how much to spend. So I'll give you my thoughts and show you a few things that I have here. When I started MillSounds 5 years ago, there's a lot of stuff that I had to budget for all at once. So I needed a few more mic stands and I needed a few more XLR cables. So I think I bought these from Pitbull Audio, I think was the name of the website. But they had these on there as a 12 pack that also came with like 12 XLR cables as well. It could have been more, I can't remember. They're 25-foot cables and the cables look like they're good quality. The mic stands are not the greatest thing in the world, to be honest. If you get a cheap one from a cheap mic stand from like Guitar Center or something for around $30, it's gonna be better than this. But I will say, after being here for 5 years, I still have all 12 of these, but I baby my gear and I'm careful with things. So these days I usually try not to use anything bigger than like a dynamic mic or a small cap, but I have to say I've been pretty impressed with these. And let's see, for $300 you get 12 stands and 12 XLR cables. It was a good deal. They're not great. I would not be putting more expensive mics or heavier ribbon mics on these, but I've still got all of them around and they still do a good job. So if you've got a little bit of a budget or you don't need as many mic stands, my recommendation for a good all-rounder are these DR Pros. This is the in-house musician's friend Guitar Center mic stand. I think I bought these on guitarcenter.com and got a 2-pack for around $70 or $80. I think they're on sale, but if you look, you can usually find them for around there. But I would say, I hate to say it, but I like these a lot more than the K&M stands. I shared a studio space with a bunch of guys in Austin, Texas before I moved here, and one of the guys had a bunch of these, and I thought they were great. So when I moved out here, I needed a couple more stands at one point that were solid, that I could trust. DNR Pro, they're great. Good quality stand, good price. Now, here's the elephant in the room. If you want quality, it definitely comes at a price and a crazy weight. Latch Lake stands. I don't think you can get any better than these guys. This is the Latch Lake 1100. It's one of their smaller stands. And this guy came in a little over $300, I believe. I can't remember the exact amount. But I have to say, they're fantastic. Every single piece on this stand is user replaceable. So, I mean, if you ever have any apocalyptic scenarios where something breaks on one of these, which I've never seen in any studio under any circumstance, if anything breaks on these, you can order each part online and replace it yourself. It's not very hard, but this is the Latch Lake 1100. It maxes out at 10 feet, which is going to be plenty for most people. My ceilings are 10 feet, right around there. But the first time I bought one of these was when I got my crazy heavy 1930s RCA ribbon mic, which I think that thing weighs around 10 pounds. I didn't take my own advice. I had a big, cheaper mic stand. And the first time I put that RCA mic on it, the stand broke and it almost smashed my mic. I ran over and grabbed it just in time. So guess what I did? The next day I ordered my first Latch Lake because I knew better, but you know, over $300 for a mic stand, it's a large pill to swallow. I know it's a lot of money, but I gotta tell you, my recommendation, if you're spending $10,000 on a mic, please, for the love of God, buy a Latch Lake. If you're spending at least $1,000 to $2,000 on a mic, budget in a couple $100 for a good stand. I know a lot of people, especially the smaller home studio guys, this might be overkill just in terms of what you can fit in your room, but I'm telling you, this is a good friend for your microphones and you will not regret it. So I'm sure a lot of you are sitting there saying, hey, look, I can't afford $100 or $300 for a mic stand. I get it. I've been there. There's still some things you can do to get the most out of your smaller, cheaper, flimsy mic stands. But my biggest recommendation, sandbags are lifesavers. So for the base of your stands, I think it's important to always have a few big sandbags just to put on the legs and your bases of the stands, especially if you're in a space that has high traffic or you're just a clumsy person and tend to break things. Get a couple of these. They're super cheap. They'll save your butt, trust me. The other situation where I see mic stands get knocked over the most are when people extend the arms for drum overheads or like recording an acoustic instrument to get out of the way from the player. But counterbalance is a huge thing when you're setting up your stands, and just having a couple of really cheap ankle weights, like workout ankle weights that you put on your legs, they're great as well. So let's look at this. This is my cheap Pitbull audio stand. This is a Vanguard V4. Not the heaviest mic in the world, but Vanguard makes amazing shock mounts, and they're a little heavy. So let's say we're extending this mic out to do an acoustic instrument or drums. Now, you can tell there's a lot of weight forward. So you can do one or two things. You can rack the living crap out of all the things on the side to get it to stay where it is. But trust me, one day one of these mechanisms is going to fail, or you're just not going to tighten it enough. Who knows? It's going to wear out over time. So let's loosen this completely. The best thing you can do is take one of these ankle weights and give yourself some counterbalance. So let's move this about right there. That seems to be balancing out pretty well. Now, counterbalance. Tighten that up loosely. And there you go. That's going to keep things a lot more stable, especially if you have a sandbag down low. This is also going to ensure that your stands last as long as they possibly can. You're not abusing any of the tension points on the stand. But if you just don't have the budget for a lot of nice stands, for the love of God, buy some ankle weights, buy some sandbags. It'll save you a lot of time and money.